Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Finished Podcast, and this is another live edition. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Finished Podcast, and gentlemen, we had some technical difficulties earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Finished Podcast, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Finished Podcast. Technical difficulties galore. Give me a second. Alright, anyways, guys, so we are done with that. So, you know what's going on, guys, because, like I said, it's been a crazy last couple of weeks in the MMA world, and it's just been super exciting. Let me just check out a couple things here. Everything's been super exciting. Of course, you know, everybody, we got the, you know, the whole Brock Lesnar thing. We got the, Jesus, the Max Holloway thing. You know, everybody's talking about how it's, he's got 8 million things going on with him. 1 second it's, I don't know. 1 second it's a water poison. Next second it's a weight cut. Next second he got KO'd. Next second it's a... Now he's got some stroke issues. You know, there's all kinds of stuff kind of going on right now. You know, how about too? You know, Kat Zingano's back in the she's back in the win column. You know, good for her. You know, Chad Mendes, good for him. Huge fan of Chad Mendes. I'm so glad to have him. So glad to see him back, and it's just. You know, it's a real pleasure to see him work. So, I'm glad to see him back. I've always got a little soft spot for all the wrestlers. So, it's definitely nice to see him. It's been, what was it, 2-3 years, something like that. Anyway, guys, please check us out. Please give us a call. The phone number is on the... it's on our Facebook page. It's right in the description. You can see the phone number and everything. And give us a call, and we can chat it up. Anything, like it says, anything MMA related. You want to talk about? You want to talk about a fight? You want to talk about a show coming up? You want to talk about Bellator, UFC, whatever? Like I said, just give me a shout, give me a call, and we'll talk about it. 100%, we'll talk about it. But what's going on with me? Hold on, guys. I'm just having some, what is going on here? Yo, is this still live? Can you, you guys still see this, or am I still on? My Facebook is going nuts. That's why, I'm having some issues here. Okay, the Twitch stream looks good. The YouTube stream looks good. I have no idea what's going on here. Hold on, guys. So sorry. I don't understand. You guys having any issues, or is everything going okay with this? Guys, am I live? Is this thing running? Because my Facebook is kind of like stalled out. Like it's just straight up crapped out on me, so I can't even tell if it's I can't tell what's going on. I can't tell if it's still streaming or what, because it's just not. It doesn't look like it's working right. Guys, is this working right for y'all, or? Yo. Is the stream working? Yeah? Thumbs up? Is that what it means? Yeah? Okay. Well, we're gonna roll with this. It's working, right? Okay. All right. Sorry, man. Yeah, it wasn't working right for me. Anyway, yeah, please give me a call. Check out our Facebook page, please. And I just put up an interview, Sam Alvey I did a couple days ago. I got some other stuff working. I got a few interviews I'm doing coming up in a couple days, and I'll have that stuff distributed kind of probably throughout maybe next week. But I got a lot of cool stuff I'm doing. I can't really talk about some of the stuff, but it's pretty exciting, and hopefully it'll only make the show better, and you know, increase the stuff for you. But guys, please stay tuned, because I'm going to be doing a giveaway at some point during this show. I got some cool t-shirts that came in, and I'm going to be giving away a couple of them, so please stay tuned. What do you say? Let's make it so before, I've tried to do these giveaways before, man, but it just never quite pans out. But let's do it for real this time. Let's do it for sure. What's a requirement? Here's a requirement. You have to, let's say you have to you got to be following the page. Okay, you have to already be a follower. Share this video, and just be there, be in the chat when I announce the winner. Let's say I'll announce the winner in like 3:17. I'll announce the winner at 3:30. All right, 3:30 Eastern time. It's 3:30 my time. But anyway, so like I said, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the world of MMA. Give me a call. We could talk about it. The phone number is 717-739-6486. That's 717-739-6486. Just give me a call. And Mike, you're disqualified from any giveaway. You're permanently disqualified, man. I'm sorry. I'll give you a Coke and a smile, though. Just kidding. Just kidding. Maybe I'll give you some swag, Mike. I don't know. But yeah, I guess let's talk about a couple things. Let's touch up on the Max Holloway thing real quick. So it's some pretty interesting news, like I said, with Max Holloway, and possibly could be something career-ending for him, right? It could be really bad. Oh, no. So anyway, with Max Holloway, it could be some really bad stuff going on with him. I really hope it's not like stroke-like symptoms, or, you know, I hope he's doing all right. I think it's been unconfirmed reports that You know, he's definitely not doing all that great. He's doing better. But there could be a situation where he could be out for, you know, in an inordinate amount of time. I don't know. Let's also talk about. This is the last time I'm going to talk about it, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. But the whole Brock Lesnar thing, and I already did a video on it, and I already kind of said my 2 cents. But it's so strange to me how people keep posting these things, and people keep posting about how fake the setup was, and how it was, you know, how it was you know, how it was already set up, and how it was, you know, too WWE-ish, too pro wrestling-ish, and stuff like that. Like, I just want to start drooling and be like, really? Really? You guys figured that out all by yourselves? Quick. Quick. Somebody call Vince. Somebody call Dana, because you got fans out here that figured it out and they burst the bubble. Somebody call him, because they figured it out. Your whole plan is blown. Guys, they know it's a setup. They know it's a setup. What can we do? What are you going to do? Nothing. No shit. No shit, it's a setup. Guys, it really looked like a setup. I think it was a setup. No shit. Every time I see a post, every time I see someone talk about how much it was a setup and how things look too WWE-ish, no shit. You're not anything special. You're not a genius because you figured it out. No shit. Right? You got people that think they're on like the inside of the business or something. They think they're people think they're like adept to like they're on like a higher level, and they have a higher level of understanding. You're not, man. You're really not. You're really not. Yeah, I agree, Mike. I think it would be kick-ass if Brock walked in with the WWE belt. People can say what they want, and people, you know what? Like I said, I've said before, being an MMA fan, right? Like some of you MMA fans, for real, you guys have to relax, okay? Part of it, it is for entertainment. That's the way it is, okay? You guys are a little too proud, and we're a little too old school, some of you, or, you know, it's got to be the honorable thing, and it's got to be this and that, this old school. You guys have to move forward. You have to go with the times, right? You guys have to progress, okay? Because the old pay-per-view model doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work. They're not getting the pay-per-view buys like they used to. You guys are going to have to get with the times. They got to do these circus acts every once in a while, right? You have to. It's just the way it is. You have to kind of do the circus act and kind of be over the top and everything else. And it's just the way it is. It's not going anywhere. It's just not. You know, you got your Connors, you got your Colby Covingtons. Okay, these guys are on the bandwagon. These guys are, guess what? They're going to be pulling the numbers. They're going to be on the top of the cards. Okay, and you got other people who, hey, they're not going to market themselves, and they're going to get left behind. Okay, people can worry about being the most honorable fighter, the most this or that, and you know, there's nothing but respect there for that. But at the same time, he did actually, Paul Heyman actually walked out with Brock Lesnar to one of his fights against, who was it? Cowboy. Who was it? Cowboy, oh my God. Heath Herring. Paul Heyman actually walked out with Heath Herring. Let's see. If the circus act isn't going anywhere, the UFC will have to face the very real possibility the fans will go elsewhere. I mean, yeah, that's possible, Paul. I mean, they might go elsewhere. It's quite possible they'll go elsewhere, and that's something that, you know, there are other options, right? There's Bellator, there's ONE FC, there's a lot of other options that we have as MMA fans. I just think that, like I said, this doesn't come from a disrespect place. This just comes from like a moving forward place. You know, I think UFC needs to adopt the like the WWE Network platform, the way their business model, because I think I would pay $15 a month. I'd pay $15 a month. I might even pay $20 a month if it included all the UFC pay-per-views and then everything else that Fight Pass already includes. I'd for sure pay $15-20 a month. I think a lot of people would, and they just need to, get on board with that, because when WWE Network first came around, everybody was worried. All the wrestlers were worried that they wouldn't be getting paid the same, because how do they base the pay scale? Because they're not going off of pay-per-view buys anymore, right? They're going off of subscription buys. And it took them, I want to say, about 10 months. It wasn't even a year. And I know they had a certain mark they had to hit to where they would basically be where they were with the pay-per-views. I want to say it was like, a little over 1 million subscribers, and they hit it, they hit it quick. If they could do something like that, I think a lot of us would pay $15-20 a month for that. And the thing is with WWE Network, right? The reason why it works so well, because it's only $9.99. They actually have less free streams than they used to. The pirated streams on WWE pay-per-views, they're less because more people are paying the $9.99. It's a little more reasonable. So I think you find less people, looking for the pirated streams, because it's so much more available than it used to be, right? I think UFC could be the same way. Make it cheap enough to where people, don't have to shell out a fraction, a quarter of their paycheck just to watch the show, right? Some of us can afford $60-70 a pay-per-view, but that's groceries for a week, man. That's a couple gas tanks. That's and I'm not saying it's not worth it, right? I think there are plenty of cards that I've paid, full price for, and it's definitely worth it. But I think you have to come to a realization, if you want to get, like I said, I don't like the term, but unfortunately, there aren't enough hardcore fans to keep the UFC to go around, monetarily. There just aren't, there isn't enough UFC hardcore fans to go around. You need those casual fans to, to kind of jump in and out of there. You have to, right? There just aren't enough of us that's gonna, they'll sustain maybe a little bit, but it's gonna eventually plateau. And I think that's what's kind of happened, right? They had such a big year in 2016, and even a pretty big year in 2017, and that's why 2017 you start to kind of see that down slope, and that's with we had lost Connor. Connor's been gone. Jones was, you might as well say Jones was pretty much gone. No Anderson Silva anymore. You had GSP just fight this year, but I mean, not this year, but back in November, like towards the end. So I mean, that was great, but you really had there wasn't a whole lot of big names going on last year. And this year, it's kind of a similar situation, so far. I mean, there's been some great cards coming up, but we've had injuries plagued, with Tony Ferguson and Holloway, and we've had all these huge fights where the guys have gotten injured or drug testing or whatever it is, and it's causing it's a problem, right? I think they need to. Another thing, just a side note, I think they really need to enforce more backup fighters, especially for the co-main events and main events, which I know they kind of do for the really big fights, but they really just need to have a guy, pay him enough so he can get through camp and, make a little something. Obviously, it's not going to be a full purse because he's not guaranteed the fight, but pay him a little something, right? And make sure that he's, make sure that he's good to go, and that way he's got the full camp behind him, and that way when someone is someone gets injured, gets hurt, has a baby, I don't know, man, just like 1,000 different things can happen, and it's just have that standby. But okay, so let me get to you, Paul. You said UFC is in a cycle of chasing the next big payday because revenue's down. I would argue that the fiscal problems are because they keep chasing the big fights. That could be true, Paul. You know, I understand your point. Because, like you said, they're chasing the big paydays. It's almost like, you know, and then when stuff goes awry or when something goes down or maybe they're overlooking some of their other stuff. That's possible. But let's look at it this way. Think about it this way. I'll argue this. Prior to last year, right, you had a pretty steady stream of your top fighters were fighting multiple times a year. Okay, your John Jones, your GSP, your Ronda Rouseys, you know, so on, your Anderson Silva. They were fighting, you know, 1, 2, 3 times a year. Okay, whereas now your top fighters, you're lucky if you see them once a year anymore, especially the upper echelon. Okay, like I totally get what you're saying, but you got to figure back then your upper echelon fighters were fighting more often. Okay, and you had more of those bigger cards multiple times a year. And you know, now granted, here's what I will say. I will say this. The only thing I can really equivalent this to is say pro wrestling, right? Is you have a lower level card, you have a mid card, your mid card workers, and then you have your top card and your main event workers. UFC is kind of similar. Okay, you have certain guys who can main event shows, certain guys who are kind of your co-main event quality or personality, and you have the, you know, your lower card, mid card people. The UFC stock as far as mid card fighters has risen, right? There's several guys that are out there that are like right on the edge of doing something. You know, they're right on the edge, but they're not quite broken through that glass ceiling. So you got a lot of guys that are right there on the cusp of breaking through, but they're not known enough to the rest of the public to really, you can't book them on like a main event of a pay-per-view. Israel Adesanya, like he was, you know, he did the finale of Ultimate Fighter, which was great. I think he's a huge star in the making. I think the way he fights is exciting. I don't even necessarily think he's the best fighter, but the way he fights is exciting, right? And I think he's going to be something special to watch, and especially as he develops. But you know, I think right now we're like I said, we are in a cycle. You're right, like we're in a cycle where our main caliber guys, you know, they're nowhere to be found. DC is trying to fill a hole. He's trying to fill a gap, and I think DC's trying to do the best he can. And you know, he's trying to do. Obviously, he wants to make a big payday. You know, for example, with the whole Brock Lesnar thing, he's trying to do a big payday for himself because he's only got a couple fights left, right? I think at the same time, I think it is, like I said, I think it is good for UFC. Could it backfire? Yeah, absolutely. People could leave. People could say, this is BS. This is too, you know, this is BS. It's too WWE-ish. And that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I think people just kind of need to take a step back and not take it so seriously. It's entertainment, just like anything else. It doesn't mean that it's fake. It doesn't mean that it's this or that. Was that whole, you know, the end of the Stipe Cormier fight, was it a setup? Probably, man. Like, yeah, I'm sure it was a setup, but like, it's not really a huge deal. Like, at least to me, I don't really understand the big deal. I think it will be. Well, except, now, here's the thing with that, Paul, is, historically, his pay-per-views, the pay-per-views that he's been on, has been historically quite a bit higher. So I don't know that really. Now, obviously, that's been, you know, the last time he was on a pay-per-view. Let's not count UFC 200, right? Let's not count that because that was a big enough card by itself. So let's put that part aside, okay? The prior pay-per-view numbers that, you know, where he fought, you know, Couture, Frank Mir, Kane, Shane Carwin, all those pay-per-views drew really big numbers, right? And it's because of him. So I don't know. We don't really know. That's the thing. That was back then, and he drew some really big numbers. So historically, he has been proven to draw big numbers. Like that's not a guess. That's not a, that's not something people are pulling out the, the top of their head. Like it's historically he has drawn big numbers. Will he draw big numbers again? I don't know. The fan base is a little different than it was back then. Of course it is. It's a little different. You had a lot of pro wrestling fans have kind of crossed over, more than they used to. And I think it is because of, there just is some crossover personalities, right? Like because of Ronda Rousey, because of Brock Lesnar, because of Colby Covington, because of Chael Sonnen, right? You have personalities like that a lot of wrestling fans watch, right? And I don't think that, the one thing that I disagree with a lot of people about is, I don't think that that's a bad thing, right? Because I've said before that, we want the fighters that we do like, a lot of them don't make nearly as much money as they probably should, but with those extra eyeballs from people like Brock Lesnar crossing over, it's going to get more money in their pocket, right? And I think, like I said, I think we can all agree that that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Is it the best way to get from point A to point B? That part's arguable, right? But we know that the end result is going to be that these guys are going to have, they're going to get more money in their pocket from being on those shows and from getting that extra. Even if it's not more money, it'll be more exposure, right? Which will eventually get them more money down the road. So I don't know. I think some of today's MMA fans I think they're a little harsher than they need to be. I don't think it's that serious. I think it was, and honestly, it was pulled off a little poorly. Had the whole Brock Lesnar thing been pulled off a little bit differently, even if it was staged, I don't think that's the part that really bothers people. I think it was kind of cheesy, because Brock was grinning in the ear to ear, coming in there and shoving DC, and DC was kind of laughing the whole time. You push me now, you'll be sleeping later. And it was kind of, you could tell he wasn't super serious. I think if it is past 3:30. All right, hold on, guys. Let's do a. All right, guys. So, second, we're gonna do a giveaway here. Real quick, if you guys want to get in on the giveaway, you already have to be a follower. You already have to be a follower to the page for the giveaway. Follow the page, share the video. I'm going to do a giveaway real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab it. Just give me 1 second. Okay. All right, so it's got some new t-shirts made. So check this out. Finished podcast right here. All right. Now, unfortunately, I only have one size for right now. I'll do that. So please share the video real quick. I'm gonna give a chance to a couple people that's just getting on. I don't have 6X, Mike. Please finish. Please make sure you are following the page already and share the video. Okay, so this right here. Finished podcast shirt. And I will ship it to you. I'd even throw something else in there. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of generous. Let's see. Let's take a look. Well, I'm gonna give this a little more time because I don't think everybody is. Guys, please to get in on the giveaway, you must share the video, okay? And you must be a follower on the page. You must share the video and you must be a follower on the page, and you will be into the giveaway. I'm gonna give this a few more minutes. Let a few more people kind of get in on here. But okay, what were we talking about? Yeah, so like I said, I think people are a little harsh. We all want our fighters to make more money, and like I said, I think if they would have done the Brock Lesnar angle a little bit better, you know, if he would have came in super pissed and, you know, maybe still push DC, and DC really got pissed and was maybe even throw a punch or something like that, I don't even think we would be having the same conversation. I don't even think people are upset that Brock got in the octagon. I don't think people are upset that Brock's even fighting DC. I think most of it was just because it was kind of cheesy. And I don't even think it bothers people that it was set up. You know, because if you think, you know, some of the stuff Colby does, right? It's not random. It's set up, right? Some of the stuff, you know, like the pre-fights, a lot of the pre-fight stuff is set up. I don't think that's the part that bothers people. It's the fact that it looks kind of maybe a little cringy, which is why people also have some problems and reservations with some of the stuff Colby does. It's just some of it looks kind of cringy. It is what it is. But no interpromotional shows that I know of. Maybe on the local level. No, I take that back. I think I've seen. No, never mind. No, I don't think anybody does any like interpromotional stuff. No, with the exception, didn't a long time ago, didn't Bellator do? No, that wasn't with Glory. Never mind. They had their own kickboxing thing. Bellator did like an MMA and kickboxing event, and it was really bad. It was really bad. All right. Here's what we're going to do. You know what? We're going to do some giveaway. Let's do Paul, are you in the chat? Paul Miller, you in the chat? Been a good sport. Paul Miller, if you're in the chat, send me a message, and I'm gonna ship you a shirt. Free of charge, my friend, on the house. Send me a message, Paul. Send me a private message. But guys, please call in. Call into the phone number right up top, 717-739-6486. Check it out. And you know, like I said, we'll talk anything MMA, or, you know, throw some comments down in the bottom there. Like I said, anything else you guys want to talk about, like I said, as far as, you we kind of talked about. So I think the whole Brock Lesnar thing is kind of overdone at this point, but it's just it is a big deal, and I understand why people. I understand why some people cringe at it. I get it, right? I do get it, but let's see, what else do we got? What is some big news coming up? Okay, so I tell you what's near and dear to me, and I'm really curious about this. Is Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley, right? Anybody can argue that Colby Covington basically talked his way into a title fight, and you'd be true. I mean, yeah, you'd be correct in saying that, right? But the way he took out RDA, I don't know if people. It's kind of hard to say that he just straight up talked his way into it, because he just dismantled RDA, right? I'm not going to say he's not the best fighter, this or that, but the dude's a bad dude. He's got the gift of gab. Sometimes it's a little cringy, but I really think that against Tyron Woodley, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if he'll be able to put the amount of pressure that he was doing with RDA. I think it's going to be a little different, because Woodley, I just don't know if you can pressure Woodley the same way that you can do anybody else, because he's so dangerous. He's so dangerous with the hands. He's really got just hammers for fists. And he can just true one punch knockout power. Just true one punch knockout power. And the lights are off. So I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if he can. It'll really be interesting to see what happens with that. Ryan, thanks for coming on, man. It'll really be interesting to see what happens with that. I think we're looking at a new welterweight champion. I think he'll be able to overcome Woodley. I think Woodley is going to be real hesitant, because it's a strange style. Because you notice when when Colby fought RDA, it was almost like RDA just didn't really know where to start. Everything he did, it was just so much pressure. Really couldn't. A lot of fighters work off of like that momentum and that setup, and kind of getting stuff rolling. And it's like you have this game plan in your head, and you know that you're going to go from A to B to C to D. I saw the message, Paul. I'll get you. From a lot of fighters have a setup A, B, C, D, and they have this game plan that they've rehearsed. Not rehearsed, but you know what I mean. I don't mean like pro wrestling rehearsed, but they've had this game plan that they've gone through for 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, and it's like they're just a machine. It's just like robot at this point. And it's like once they can't get going, then it's like their brain just, it just all kind of piles out, and they don't really know what to do. And it's like they're like a duck out of water. Duck out of water. What a stupid phrase. Fish out of water. Covington's legit, but I'm not a fan. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people aren't. A lot of people aren't his fan. I just like what he's doing because, I like anybody that's kind of outspoken. Obviously, with anything else, I'm not saying I agree with everything he's saying, but I like people who are outspoken. I like people who are kind of a little bit outside the box. I think I'm a little outside the box, so I guess I can definitely identify with that. I like the wrestlers, so I tend to pull towards wrestlers anyway. Him, Blades, DC. I mean, just a couple off the top of my head. I tend to pull for them 100% of the time. It's just, I don't know. I just maybe it's the wrestler in me. I don't know, but no, I like Covington. I like his trash talk. Sometimes it's a little cringy. I don't agree with everything, but for the most part, I like it because it's different, and you know, I can appreciate. I mean, it's a hustle. The dude is a hustler, and he got his way. He got his way up to a title fight. Like I said, a lot of it with just his mouth. He didn't wait for. Well, I mean, he might be a douche. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know him, but I mean, he could be. I don't know, but you know, I mean, I think you could say there's a couple fighters that let's just say I've spent a few minutes with that turn out to be douches that you would never think are, but they are. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. That's you know, I'm not naming names, but you know, I think most of that is kind of an act too. You know, it's just a gimmick. Um, and again, I think you just take it. I think some people just take him just a little less seriously. I don't think he's really meant to be taken that seriously. Um, but sorry about that. I don't think he's really meant to be taken that super serious. So I don't know. I guess that's maybe why it doesn't bother me so much. Um, like I said, I'd pull for him either way. I'd pull for him either way. And then of course he's Chael's boy, and I'm a huge Chael fan too. So I guess like I don't obviously they're not related, but kind of like father like son. Kind of like they've been tight for a long time, and let's see. So of course we had all the anybody keep up with any of the Brendan Schaub, Dana White back and forth Twitter nonsense? Anybody else catch that? That was the anybody keep up with any of the well, anybody keep up with all that nonsense? They were with the what did Schaub call them? Eskimo brothers, right? No way to talk to a fellow Eskimo brother, is what he was saying. Which I guess I actually had to look it up. I've never heard that. I've never heard that terminology before. Apparently, it means that you know you've been with the same chick. So who knows? Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was disrespectful to Rhonda. I agree. I think she was just kind of an innocent bystander. I don't think it was meant towards Rhonda. It was really meant towards Dana. But yeah, she was kind of an innocent bystander in that exchange. She had nothing to do with it. I think he was just trying to press Dana's buttons. Yeah, Eskimo Bros. Yeah. Um, I don't know, man. I'm a huge fan of. I like Schaub. Um, I listen to Schaub's show just as much as you know. I might listen to Schaub more than Rogan now. Um, Rogan kind of gets. I like his political stuff too. I like the political stuff. I love it when he brings like the scientist on and stuff like that. So, but I don't know. Sometimes some of his stuff, like some of his more his comedy friends that come on there, his comedian friends that come on there, it just feels like a bunch of inside jokes, and it's not really. It's just kind of not my cup of tea with that. But whenever like fighters go on or scientists or you know some of the political people, I'll get on and listen to that. I'm all for a good deep conversation. But Schaub, I think he's done well for himself. I mean, the guy has, he's had 2 or 3 successful podcasts. He's still pretty new in comedy, but the dude is selling out, selling out places all across the country. I just don't know. I don't know where Dana, gets all that from. Where he's just, he's nothing, or he shouldn't be taking advice from him. Blah 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 blah. All that stuff. I just don't get it. I don't get where any of that comes from. I really don't. Let's look at some stuff here. So, TJ Dillashaw thinks second win over Cody Garbrandt solidifies him as the best bantamweight ever. Possibly. I still think even if he beats Cody, he needs a decisive win over Cruz, I think, to really get that nod. Personally, I think he beat Cruz the first time. I think he beat Cruz. I really do. I mean, it was, I would argue maybe a draw, but I don't know. I don't think anybody could convince me that Cruz won. I'd say a draw or TJ. And I'm a huge Cruz fan. I'm a big TJ fan. I'm a big Cruz fan. So it's not, there's not like a fighter bias on that one. I think I like both of them equally. I might even like Cruz more, to be honest with you, especially since he's been doing commentary. I love his breakdowns. Well, yeah, but I mean, TJ had a pretty good win streak, right? I mean, he was. Let me quote this. Let's look at TJ's record. I mean, TJ is 16-3. He went on a okay, yes, okay. So he won 4 fights, lost a fight to Sun Sao. Won 4 fights, lost to Dominic Cruz, and then he's won his last 3 fights now. So, I mean, he's beaten some top guys. I don't know that you know, he's beaten some top guys, but yeah, you're right. You know, maybe he needs more title defenses to really call him one of the greatest. But I think first and foremost, I think he needs to beat Cruz. I think without beating Cruz, you just can't. You just can't. I'd really like to see Cruz and Garbrandt go one more time. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see Cruz get that win back. But the deep down part of me inside thinks that, you know how some fighters either they match up really well and you're always going to see a great fight out of them, right? Like the Stephan Bonner, Forrest Griffin, right? Just an example. You know, no matter what, they just have something, and they're just, the way they're matched up, you're going to see a good fight. I think with Cody and Cruz, I think it might be the other way around. You know, I think maybe Cody kind of had Cruz figured out to a T, man. I mean, to a T. I don't know that unless Cruz really changes some stuff up, I think Cody is just one of those guys that probably has his number. Maybe it's just the way it is. Maybe it's just his style. I think he just has his number, and we may not ever see the Cruz get that W back. It is what it is, right? Okay, so we got. Let's just take a look at some things. Robert Whittaker out with an injury, possibly won't be back till early 2019. Back till early 2019 for that. Was got a broken hand. Oh yeah, I agree, Paul. I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. So yeah, the deal looks like Whittaker messed up his hand. He'll be out again. That's a shame. I think Whittaker could be a really marketable guy because his style is really exciting. I think that he's just been injury prone, man. Like, it's just, It's really a shame. And you know the fight with Romero was, both fights were awesome, right? I mean, say what you want. I don't even care who won. They're so freaking, like, they're both just so damn tough, especially in that last fight, right? They're just so tough. You know, you saw, at one point when Whitaker was kind of in control and Romero came back. Romero was in control, Whitaker came back, and it was just such a good back and forth. Um, that tough warrior mentality that Whitaker has. I think he's a good representative of the UFC. I think he's a huge representative for the UFC because he just represents that. To me, he seems like, I don't know if I'd say the perfect fighter, but I think he's definitely a guy that the UFC could really get behind, right? Because he's consistent, right? He only gets better. I think and he's definitely got some personality. I think he's somebody that he's exciting to watch. He's somebody that the UFC can get behind if they just kind of put that machine behind him. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, articulate, humble. Yeah, absolutely. Everything the UFC wants in the champ. Yeah, I agree with you 1,000% on that, Paul. 1,000%. I think Whitaker's the man. You know, I know a lot of people do too, and I know that's not. I'm not saying anything new, but I think Whitaker's the man. I like Romero too. I don't want to take anything from Romero. I mean, I've had my issues with him with the Stoolgate thing and stuff like that. But I think Romero's a tough dude too, and I don't want to take a whole lot away from him. I'm excited to see Romero jump up to light heavyweight. I'm really looking forward to that. I'd love to see. I'd love to see Romero and Gus or something like that. I'd like to see Romero fight somebody in the top 10. I don't know. I don't even know who. But I'm really looking forward to that. I'm willing to bet that we're going to see a Romero 2.0, because think about all the weight that he cuts to get to 185. Think about all that weight and how weak he probably is. He's probably fighting at like 70%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think if he, oh well, I tell you, I think this is what should happen. Now, grant the light heavyweight pitcher. I mean, really, what do you got? You got the Vulcans up there. Of course, you got Gus, right? Gus. I think Gus is probably the next guy. As long as he wins his next fight, he's probably the next guy for a title shot. Is Gus. Okay. Other than that, there's really nobody. Vulcan got beat pretty bad. I don't think he's getting a title shot anytime soon. I don't think that's happening. But I think Romero gets in there, and I think he fights somebody in the top 10. I think he has a good claim to get a title shot. If he beats somebody this first fight, if he beats somebody pretty convincingly, I think he should fight somebody. I think either maybe the top 3 or even for a title shot. So it'll definitely be interesting on that. Let's check out what else do we got? What's some good news here? Let's see. Curtis Blades admits he wasn't expecting to be among the elite heavyweights so soon. I'm looking for a lot of big things out of Curtis too. I'm looking for a lot of big things. I'm trying to. Curtis, if you're listening, give me a call, man. Give me a message. I've been talking to him, trying to get some times worked out. I know he's a busy dude, but anyway, I'm looking for a lot of big things out of Curtis. I know he's not the maybe he's not the exciting style that, say, like a John Jones is or something like that, but I think he's every bit as talented. And what he did to Mark Hunt, what he did to Alistair, you know. And a lot of guys want to take credit away from him. Well, both those guys are past their prime. You know, you're still talking about elite level fighters, right? You're still talking about elite level guys. Okay, Mark Hunt still trains at an elite level. Okay, Alistair Overeem, elite level, right? And for Curtis to go in there and do what he did to them, I don't know how you can take away any credit from that dude. I think after Stipe, I think other than Stipe, I think Curtis is the only other rightful heavyweight title contender. Okay, once they do whatever, once they get out the way, whatever DC is going to do with Lesnar, okay, and I guess whatever he's going to do with John Jones, I think if he fights John Jones, DC does again, just on a sidebar, I think it should be at heavyweight. I think he actually might have, he'll have a little more advantage than he would at light heavy. But that's just my 2 cents. But anyway, so once after all that stuff gets done with Stipe, I think that Blades is right there. He's right there, right? And I was talking to you know, I was saying the other day, I think I'd like to see Curtis and Stipe. Whatever card they do, the Brock Lesnar DC fight on, I'd love to see Stipe and Curtis co-main event that card. I really would. And I think that'll really put him... I mean, that'll guarantee him a title shot or something. An interim title shot, a title shot, something. I think that all but guarantees it, right? Like I said, I think he's there now. But for really, I think for the mainstream public to see, I think he needs to put away Stipe. That would be a huge, huge message. If you were gonna rank Romero, sorry, I didn't see the question. If you were gonna rank Romero at 205, based purely on talent, where would you like him? I'd say 1 or 2. I don't know. It'd definitely be in the top 5. I don't know. That depends on how he does at 205. I think he'll be better at 205 than he is at 185. I think he'll be better. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if I'd put him at 1 because I think Gus is the rightful #1 contender. 2, maybe 3. You know, 2 or 3. I think I'd put him in there. I think Gus is the rightful next person in line for a title shot. I really do. Yeah, I think Romero versus Gus, it would be fascinating, right? Because other than John Jones, there's other than John Jones, that type of lengthy, you know, just tall, long arms, long reach style. I mean, there's really nobody else like Gus except for John Jones. Romero's never fought John Jones. Romero's never fought anybody like him or Gus. So there's a lot of questions. You know, Romero likes to do a little setup and come in real hot. He likes to, his whole thing is he kind of stands back for a second, waits for an opening, and he just bum rushes in because he's so damn fast. I don't know if he can do that so much because they've got so much range on him. And I mean, they're good in the close too because he's got the elbows. You know, and Gus has some wrestling himself. And it's odd to take down a taller guy. And I don't know if a lot of people, you've ever tried to take down a taller guy. It doesn't even necessarily mean that the taller guy is the more experienced or is better wrestling. It's all about like center of gravity, right? Because most people's center of gravity is a little right below, kind of right at, it's kind of, you know, center mass right at the waist, sometimes a little bit below the waist, right? That's why you're digging in your shoulder, kind of right there, either in the waist or kind of the upper thigh area when they're taking them down. It doesn't even mean that the person's a better wrestler, but the center of gravity, people that have really long torsos, okay, or really tall legs, their center of gravity is off. It's not, you know, it's not normally what you're used to. So the center of his center of gravity might be up higher, right? So it's hard to tell with him because he's really lanky. He's real small, right? He's not very thick. So most of his weight, I imagine, is probably, you know, probably abdomen area up, upper abdomen area up. So it's kind of strange. I don't know if Romero will be able to dominate him as much as he thinks he might. He might be the better wrestler, but Gus is just too lanky. But I don't know. I really don't know. I think Romero has a good chance to beat Gus. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say it's guaranteed, but I think Romero has the tools to beat Gus 100%. I really do. I also think Gus has the tools to beat Romero. I think it can work both ways. I think it'd be an interesting fight. Yeah, for sure. Center of gravity is DC's best tool. Can't teach that. You're right. I think it's how he beats heavyweights and light heavyweights. Yeah, exactly. See, DC's center of gravity is it's a lot lower because DC is a short, stocky guy. So his center of gravity, you got to get low to take him down. You got to get real low. And John Jones is just so freaking talented and just so athletic that he can get down low enough to take him down. But what was the question from earlier? Let me see. We get back to Curtis. Yeah, Curtis. Like I said, Curtis. I think is Curtis Blades is definitely he's right up there. Sorry, almost ran over my dog. Curtis is definitely up there. I think he's the next guy. I really do. I think he's the next guy. He's the next heavyweight guy coming up. Let me see. But all right, guys. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. We've been on here about an hour. I'm gonna wrap this up. But all right, guys. Well, thanks for checking it out. Please don't forget to, if you're new to the channel, please like the page, follow the page. I'm gonna do a giveaway at 100 followers. So I'm gonna do a 100 followers. I'm gonna do another giveaway. Not sure what it'll be yet. I want to try to get into the habit of doing more. That's just a matter of timing and you know, doing these kind of things. So doing the live shows a little more technically complicated than the taped ones. But anyways, I got some great interviews coming up, so please don't forget that. Check out what I have. Like I said, I just interviewed Sam Alvey. I just dropped that a couple days ago, so go back and check that out. Like I said, I got some big stuff cooking, got some big stuff working, so please stay tuned. And like I said, if you follow the page, you'll get all the notifications. We're also on YouTube, we're on Twitch, so on and so forth. We're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're everywhere. And like I said, hopefully we got some big things coming. So until then, guys, we appreciate everything you do, and you guys have a good one.